Today we're digging into something pretty interesting.
Mm.
Think of it like a quick tour through loads of everyday conversations.
Yeah.
Our mission really is to look past just the vocabulary.
Yeah, go deeper.
Exactly. We want to pull out the key insights, common phrases, the topics that keep cropping up in these basic chats, and maybe those little cultural hints hidden in there.
And what's really great about this collection is just how varied it is. These lessons, they seem simple, but they cover so much ground.
They really do.
Everything from just saying hello to finding your way around, making plans, connecting with people. It's a really concentrated snapshot of basic English communication.
Absolutely. We're talking greetings, introductions, sure, but also the real nuts and bolts: food, time, travel, running errands.
And even stuff like health, home life, tech.
Leisure, too. So, why should you care about this? Well, it's not just about learning words. It's a chance to really understand how people interact day to day, what they say, but also maybe a bit about the how and why behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's dive in. Starting right at the beginning, greetings and introductions.
Yeah, the first few lessons really set the stage. You get those absolute core greetings. Hello, hi, and of course, how are you?
Right, with the almost inevitable "I'm good" reply. It's simple, but it sort of sets the tone immediately, doesn't it?
It does. And almost straight away, you hear the question, where are you from?
Followed by just stating it. American or maybe Californian. Simple fact.
And then that essential little phrase, nice to meet you. And the reply, nice to meet you too.
Such a small thing, but it's often that first little bridge you build.
Definitely. And right in these early chats, you also see the practical side of things, like, do you speak English?
Yes, that comes up in a few ways.
It does. And asking it so often just highlights that initial concern, doesn't it? For both people, potentially. Acknowledging there might be a language barrier.
Then we get straight into needing help. Such a useful phrase.
Crucial.
And it leads to basic requests. Someone needs directions to the airport, the subway.
Even the restroom.
Yeah, it just shows how fast you need practical info in everyday life.
And look how introductions expand. You hear, this is my friend, Mrs. Smith.
Which then leads naturally to asking about work, right? What do you do for work?
Exactly. It's such a common icebreaker, a way to place someone socially, find common ground, maybe.
What's really interesting is how these basic pieces, they just keep reappearing later, building into slightly more complex situations.
They form the foundation.
Okay, let's move into navigating daily life.
Yeah.
And naturally, food is huge.
Always.
That simple phrase, I'm hungry, just opens the door. Suddenly, we're talking Italian restaurants.
Spaghetti, pizza, even someone saying they don't like spaghetti.
Huh. Shows how quickly preferences come into play.
And it's not just hunger, there's a social side, too. Offering a drink. Do you want something to drink? That's standard courtesy.
And you get specific requests: coffee, water, small or large. Little choices.
Yeah, and even if they don't have coffee, the conversation shifts to finding an alternative. Quick problem solving.
Time is another big factor that pops up all over. Remember the lesson with dinner at 10 p.m.?
Oh, yeah, and the immediate reaction, that's too late.
Right. It really shows how maybe cultural norms around meal times affect planning.
And then the negotiation begins. 1:30 p.m. Too early. 5 p.m. Okay, that works. It's that little dance of coordinating schedules.
And that negotiation continues in another lesson just about planning lunch.
11:30 a.m. is shot down as too early.
So they land on 12:30 p.m., but it's not just when, it's where. Agreeing on Bill's seafood restaurant. Specific places become anchors in our plans.
That's a good point. How much of our daily talk is actually this subtle give and take to find a time or place that works for everyone?
We also see ordering in a restaurant played out. The host's greeting, asking about drinks, bottled water, juice, Coke.
Then the food order. Tuna fish sandwich, vegetable soup. Very practical transactional English.
And don't forget money. That quick check, do you have enough money for a ham sandwich?
Oh, right. And the mention of credit cards as backup. Small detail, but very real.
Like finding the supermarket closed on Sunday evening. Disappointing, sure, but then the practical solution, let's go tomorrow morning. Adapting.
Even just suggesting, let's take a walk. A simple prompt leading to maybe a spontaneous activity together.
Yeah, and combining tasks, too. Buying a newspaper before the library.
And checking the weather walk or take an umbrella. These little logistical choices we make constantly.
Okay, let's shift gears. How do these conversations help us connect with other people?
Well, the lessons on social interaction really stress checking in. How have you been?
A classic opener for something more personal.
And the response to bad news, like someone being sick, sorry to hear that, it shows empathy, social awareness.
Family comes up quite a bit, asking about a spouse, kids, their names, ages.
And where they are, what they're doing, maybe in Canada or school in Washington, work in Florida, is how we keep those connections alive, even cross distance.
And just identifying people. Who is that woman?
Followed by wanting to know more job, nationality, if she speaks English, married or not. It's just natural human curiosity, isn't it?
Yeah. And those follow-up questions after an introduction, like, where did you learn English? Or how long have you been here?
There's standard ways to build a bit of rapport, find shared experiences, maybe.
We also see the start of new connections forming. Mentioning going to the same college, that's a classic icebreaker. Using a shared past.
Or even just expressing a simple interest. There is one girl I like who lives in my building. Personal feelings creeping into everyday chat.
And dinner invitations. Coordinating schedules after work or meetings. It seems basic, but it's how we build and maintain social ties.
Absolutely. There's this implied understanding of busy lives, but still making the effort to connect.
Okay, let's get practical again. Travel and daily errands. This is where the language gets really essential.
Definitely. Asking for and giving directions comes up a lot. Using landmarks, the Holiday Inn.
Street names, Main Street, Highland Avenue, distances 1.5 miles, and transport options like the subway.
And notice the need to confirm things like addresses, making sure you've got it right.
Then there's vacation talk, departure dates, return dates, where you're going Canada, for instance, how long you'll stay. Very common small talk.
Even borrowing money comes up, and offering to pay it back shows trust, reciprocity.
Finding ATMs, convenience stores, thinking about opening hours, how to get their subway or taxi, and the cost involved. All practical stuff.
The whole scenario of buying plane tickets is quite detailed.
Yeah, one-way round trip, first class or coach, checking if seats are available, making the reservation, paying.
Receiving mail, needing a passport. Sometimes these are just administrative facts of life that pop into conversation.
Checking into a hotel involves a whole checklist, doesn't it? Vacancy, internet, smoking or non-smoking, bed size, how to pay, checkout time.
Lots of questions, and even simpler things, like sending a package overnight versus regular mail, or just mailing a letter and buying stamps.
And taking a taxi, telling the driver the destination, the comfort inn, asking how long it'll take.
And then hitting traffic, the shared frustration, maybe deciding to switch to the subway instead. It really shows how basic English helps you navigate these everyday hurdles.
Let's talk health and well-being now. We saw conversations about just feeling unwell, maybe after breakfast at a hotel.
Right. And then the process of making a doctor's appointment. That can feel quite significant.
Yeah, expressing urgency, checking when the doctor is free, giving insurance details.
Discussing payment, even mentioning feeling cold in the waiting room. These are very real-life situations.
And dealing with a cold, describing a cough, talking about seeing a doctor, asking for tissues. Super relatable.
Or allergies. Identifying triggers, like spring, mentioning the doctor's diagnosis, the medication, important health exchanges.
There's also a more detailed doctor's visit described. Patient listing symptoms, stomachache, headache, sore throat.
Mentioning a fever, getting a diagnosis, maybe a virus, the flu, getting a prescription.
And that standard advice. Rest, drink fluids.
Even the emotional side is touched on someone being nervous about surgery, looking for reassurance.
Our homes and immediate surroundings feature too. Looking for lost things, glasses, a laptop, a book.
A dictionary, pencil, backpack, shoes. And using prepositions to say where they might be. On, under, in front of, behind.
Dealing with a messy place, needing to do laundromat or parents' house, a common dilemma.
Or just tidying up, asking for help, putting things away, dealing with full trash, turning off lights, shutting doors. Mundane but necessary talk.
And of course, the weather. Can't escape that. Specifically snow.
And hoping school gets canceled. A universal wish.
Technology and communication are woven throughout these lessons, which makes sense.
Absolutely. We see someone asking for help pronouncing words laptop, kitchen. A very common language learning challenge.
Then phone calls at work. Is someone available? No, they're busy. Arrange a call back. Standard office stuff.
Or just meeting a friend and needing to specify where in a building. Second floor, simple coordination.
Sending directions is common now, right? Via email or text.
Definitely. And that shared frustration of bad cell reception, everyone knows that feeling.
We even get a little peek into a specific job working at a software company.
Describing the software database, giving a website address, talking about downloading it.
And more tech issues. Weak phone signal, computer problems.
Can't open a Word doc, maybe a virus, suggesting emailing the file for help. Very 21st century problem.
Working on a web page, sending image files, using Google to find stuff online. It's all in there.
And something more basic, too, admitting you don't know how to drive.
Let's switch to leisure and entertainment. Lots of variety here, discussing music, pop, rock, classical.
Naming favorite artists Mariah Carey, Celine Dion. Sharing tastes.
Going to the movies. Talking about the film Titanic in one lesson. Checking showtimes.
Figuring out logistics, getting picked up, eating before, even opinions on expensive theater snacks.
Going to the gym comes up. Suggesting activities. Weights. Basketball. Soccer.
But also considering practical things. Is there enough space? What's the weather like?
Birthdays and gifts are featured too. Getting a book, a guitar, offering a present.
Listening to the radio, recognizing a song or artist, the Beatles. A shared cultural touch point.
Playing games pops up. Cards, blackjack, poker. Trying to remember the rules.
Discussing romantic stories or meeting someone interesting at the library. Different kinds of social interaction through leisure.
Talking about favorite sports basketball, the Celtics, watching games.
And joining a book club. Discussing meeting times, the book itself, the kite runner, talking about the plot. Shared intellectual fun.
Now work and career. We see that everyday retail interaction. Buying a shirt.
Talking to the salesperson, asking about the price, sales, colors, how many you want.
But also more serious topics, like someone getting fired and a friend offering help finding job openings.
Or worrying about a parent's job because of layoffs. That brings in wider economic concerns.
Needing a ride to work because the car is broken down. Offering help. That reliance on your network.
And looking ahead. College majors. English, math, history, psychology, engineering.
Talking about graduation. What jobs might follow, like becoming an English translator.
And even reflecting on learning English itself. Comparing studying back home versus in the U.S. Maybe thinking about teaching English someday. It brings it full circle.
Finally, let's touch on opinions and preferences. They're scattered throughout.
Yeah, like expressing dislike for a restaurant or commenting on a new coat, nice coat, but maybe questioning the price given the weather.
Recommending food. You should try the steak or the lobster.
Or simply saying you enjoy something. Tastes really great.
Sharing music preferences, opinions on singers.
Changing your mind about plans, deciding not to go shopping after all because you're tired.
Getting personal, feeling like you've gained weight. Talking about diets.
And even touching briefly on politics, mentioning an upcoming election, Obama versus McCain, just stating the context, not taking sides. It shows how even that can filter into everyday talk.
Wow. So when you pull it all together, these 100 short lessons, they actually pack in a huge amount.
They really do. They highlight those essential phrases you need for so many common situations. They give you a window into typical scenarios. And yeah, those subtle cultural bits are there too.
What really strikes me is how often certain themes repeat. That undercurrent of politeness, always needing to ask for or give information.
And that basic human drive to just connect with people.
It really hammers home how practical and social language is.
Yeah.
Fundamentally.
Yeah, and it's fascinating to see the little ways plans get made and then maybe changed. How opinions are offered, sometimes carefully, and just the sheer range of topics that can come up, even in simple chats.
Makes you realize these basic building blocks are really the foundation for everything else, for all the more complex communication we. So, maybe here's something for you, the listener, to think about. Which of these everyday scenarios do you run into most often? How smoothly do you feel you handle them? It's a good reminder that phrases that seem simple on the surface can carry a lot of weight socially and practically. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.